In this video, we will be discussing the toString method. The toString method is a method in the object superclass, and what that means is that all other classes that are written will inherit the toString method from the object superclass. So let's look at what the signature of the toString method is in the object superclass. So when you look at the toString, it's a return type of string, so it's a non-void method. It's going to return a string, and the string that it returns is a string representation of the object. So let's look at what that looks like in a program. I have here a program already set up in REPL. I have a person class already set up, and this person class has instance variables, name and age. It has constructors. It has a default constructor plus other constructors, so I've overloaded the constructor. I also have some other methods, setter methods, getter methods, a birthday method that increases the age whenever you call it. And I have the toString method here, but I have it commented out for now so that we can see what happens when we have a toString and when we don't have a toString. So back in main, I've instantiated an object. I've called the object Ella, and I've used a new keyword to create that new object. I've called the default constructor. That means that the name is going to be set to Ella and the age will be set to 0. And the way we know it's the default is because I've passed in no parameters. So that's how Java will know to call this constructor. So that's what happens when I create this object called Ella. And what I want to do is to print out this object. So whenever I use the print or the println statement, it's going to call the toString method. So let's see what happens when it calls this toString method. So when I print this, what I get is this, and notice that it is the person, which is the class name, followed by this code, which is the memory address. So what you have to remember is anytime you instantiate an object, the identifier that you use is called a reference variable. And what that means is it does not point to the actual information in the object, it points to the memory address of that object. So when you call the toString method, when you use the println statement, which calls the toString method for this object, if you do not, in your person class, have a toString method, it's going to use the toString method from the object class, and that toString returns this. So I think we can agree that this is not very helpful to us in most cases. So what we're going to want to do is to override that toString method. So I'm going to uncomment this, and we're going to look at it. When you override a method, you have to make sure that the signature is exactly the same as it is in the class where it originally occurs. So we looked at this a minute ago, and in the object class, it's a return type of string, and then the name of the method is toString with no parameters. So this piece right here has to be the same every time. And then when we go in here and we write the code for inside of the toString, we're going to have to return a string. So we want to return the data for this object, which is the instance variables, name and age. So I'm going to return a statement that says the name of this object is the age of the object, years old. So that's what I want to have print if I try to print an object. So let's go back to main now. Now that we've uncommented this, so that now we have a toString method in the person class. I'm going to go back to main. I'm not going to change any of this code. I'm just going to run it again. Now when I run it again, you see that it gives me Ella is 0 years old. Is that what I should have gotten? Well, since I called the default constructor, the name should have been Ella and the age should be 0. And it should print this. The toString is telling it to say name, which in this case is Ella, is 0 years old. And that's exactly what we got. So that is what you need to do anytime you write a class and then instantiate an object. If you want to print the data from the object, you will have to create your own toString to get the information that's valuable to you for that object.